need to run off. Please feel free if you want to catch up on the other work. All right, we're going to look at break-even analysis, and I'll record this lesson so other people can watch it. When we're talking about break-even analysis, it normally comes from one of two things, okay? We're talking about our cost. So to manufacture goods is a great example, all right? So typically, if you manufacture things, it costs you money to produce them, right? And then you sell them for more. So let's just say you manufacture, well, my wife does toys. Let's just speak on her business, and she does actually manufacture things, but I'm not going to tell you the full prices and things like that. But let's just say, you know, she manufactures some wooden toys, okay? So they're like, let's just mention they're like wood blocks, okay? And, you know, to do these right, now, let's just picture we sell them in sets of 6. Okay, they're all these wooden blocks. And to manufacture these at the manufacturing place, to make one, well, they don't just make one because they'll set them up on like a CNC machine, so they'll automatically cut out. And you've got to load up the program into a computer, and that computer then, you know, will duplicate that as many times as they can. So to do that and duplicate those, once you've got it set up, then it's a lot quicker to sell to make them. Then you just load in the wood, and it just keeps on spitting these out. So there'll be this cost of setting it up, right? The machine to go, hey, cut out cubes like this from, you know, a bit of timber that's like yay long, like it's really long, you know what I mean? It might be the thickness of the cubes. Okay, but it's going to come along and it's going to cut out like all these cubes and it will round it, you know what I mean, from that. So you might get 2 or you might get 3, you know, in a layer. But the idea is it's cutting out these cubes. Now, to set up the machine, and that costs money, right, to set up the programming and that. So they have what they call typically is like a fixed fee. So just to program it and get it all set up is going to cost you $1,000. So straight up, you're looking at $1,000 for the setup. So C for my cost, okay? And we've got like your setup fee. Okay, so that's just to set up, you know, the program of telling the machine to come along, cut them out like along this path, okay? So they use the same type of wood all the way through, the same length, so then it will go, oh, I can make that. And then they go, well, let's look at the raw material and let's look at also, you know, making money on the setup fee, but also making money on the manufacturing of it. So the manufacturer themselves, it might cost them like, you know, $1 in wear and tear and material to make a cube, right? But they've got to take into consideration of their time of the staff. You know, if something goes wrong on the machine and it doesn't cut right, who's liable for that? They would be. So then they've got to add in some fat to go, well, if we stuff it up, how much is that going to be? And then they're also going to say, well, how many do you want? Because if you want like maybe just 60, well, that's not a lot. But say you want 6,000, well, we're starting to talk some numbers. If you're talking about 60,000 or 600,000, then you're going to be running it for a lot longer. So they're going to look at how long the job takes. So let's just say, you know, we're going to order 60,000 of these cubes, okay? Because you're selling in sets of 10, so you're looking at really like sets of 6, so you're looking at 10,000 packs, okay? So we're looking at like 10,000 packs of these. So the manufacturer of those will look at how much it costs. Now they're going to go, let's just pretend we're just going to sell it per pack, okay? Pack of 6. So per pack of wooden blocks, because we're going to get 10,000 of those, they're going to say, look, it costs us $1 to make each of these blocks. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we're going to make in some profit. So let's just say it costs $10, right? Okay, so we're going to say it costs, oh, let's say 12. Let's be greedy. It costs us $1 each. We're going to double it because we need to put in time for labor, things like that. So we're making like $6 off each set. So we're going to make 10,000 sets. We're going to make 60 grand off these guys. This is going to take us a week to do, or maybe it could take 2 weeks to do. But $60,000 with a machine, you know, electricity, all that sort of stuff, it's probably about right. So we're going to say, how much does it make? So the cost will be $1,000 for the setup of the fee, and then we're going to charge you $12 per pack. Okay, so cost equals the setup fee plus cost per item. In this case, we're calling an item 1 pack. So that is the cost for me to buy it off a manufacturer. Okay, so from here, if I buy 1 pack, it's going to cost me $1,012 because I've still got the setup fee of that, and it's 1. If I buy 1,000 packs, okay, it's going to cost me $1,000 plus 12 times 1,000, which is going to be 12,000. We said 10,000. Okay, so this is going to be 1,000 plus 12 times 10,000 is 120,000. So we're talking about 121,000. So the more I buy, the less that this setup fee has on the cost per item. And that's what manufacturers do. They buy more of these because as you buy more as you buy more items, like the setup fee has less impact per item cost, if that makes sense. So then I've got to figure out, well, okay, I've bought these, and how much am I going to sell these for? All right. Well, I look at my market research, and I'm doing a lot of research, and I'm trying to find out, how much I sell them for, and I figure that I want to make 100% markup. So if it costs me $12 per item, well, we've got more because of this. I'm going to make it at least 24, okay? Because I've got to deliver them. I've got to package them in a box myself, so I've got to actually put them in a cardboard box, so I have other things. So I'm going to sell them for 20. Let's go with $25 because it would be $24.95. But I'm going to sell them for $25 per piece. Okay, so this is my sale price, and this equals 25 per pack. So cost 12 items, so that's $12 cost per item. This one, $12 cost per item. It's $1,000 setup fee, and that's how much my cost is. Here, I sell it for $25 per pack. So with this break-even analysis, what we're actually trying to get to is find out, well, if I bought 1 pack and sold it, what would happen? Well, I'd sell it for $25, but it's going to cost me $1,012. So I'm actually going to lose about $1,000, like $990, right, roughly. So what we're trying to find out is how many of these do I need to order and sell at that price just to cover my costs to break even? Because at the moment, if I bought 1 pack or 2 packs, if I bought 2 packs, I'm going to sell it for $50, but it's going to cost me $1,024. So I'm about $974, I think, out of pocket. If you kind of understand what I mean. So let's just pretend we bought 100 packs, right? If I buy 100 packs, it's going to cost me $1,000. You guys can't see what I'm doing, can you? Yes, you should be able to see what I'm doing. You can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I've got $1,000 for my setup cost, and we said 100 packs, right? Plus 12 times 100. So my cost is going to be 1,000 plus 1,200. That's going to be 2,200, right? If I sell 100 packs, that's going to give me, how much revenue do I bring in? That's going to give me 2,500. Okay, it's cost me for 100 packs $2,200, and I've sold it for 2,500. So if you think about that, the profit I made equals how much my revenue is, how much income or sales, minus my cost or minus my expenses or minus my, I don't know, whatever you can call it, any of these. So really how much I bring in minus how much I take out. And that's really important to remember that because some people don't really know this. So if you're not sure, please write that down. So my profit for this equals 2,500 minus 2,200. And that is $300. I've made $300 because it cost me $2,200 to produce 100 packs. And if I sell them all at $25 and I sell all of them, I've made $300. So the question is, well, where do I break even? And the break even is, when does this equal 0? Okay, So the break even, what I'm trying to do is, sorry, just bear with me. The break even, there we go. So I'm trying to find out when I break even. So my break even is, okay, well, when do I break even? When is that? So my break even price, oh, I draw in that mode. I must be able to draw in that mode. Okay, so break even. Is when my cost is equal to my sales. I make no profit. No profit, but I also make no loss. So I make no profit or loss. Therefore, my profit equals 0. So, therefore, my cost must equal my amount of my sales. So hopefully you get what break even means, and that's what it is. So really, how do we figure out what the break even point is for this? So how many packs do I need to order to break even? Now, sometimes it will land on there, sometimes it will land on a, not on a perfect number, sometimes it won't. So to do that, we actually can sketch these. And then what we want to do is find out where they actually intersect, because that's the point of where the sales and the revenue do those. So if I sketch this, so for example, I'm going to have like, I could have this as sales, and I can also have this as cost. So if we just look at the sales scales to start off with, sales is $25 per unit. So we're going to have, what do we use as a variable for unit? Product per pack. Okay, so on here we're going to have per pack. Now I want to know how many sales per pack. So I know, if I go from here and we've got, what did we say, 1,000 packs? 1,000 packs was 2,500, right? That's going to be 2,500 here, and we're going to say this is, oh no, it was 100, wasn't it? It was 100 packs, and that is going to be up there, right? And that's going to start from here, and that's going to go a straight line. Would be good. That's going to go to there, okay? And it's going to keep on going the more we sell. And then we've got our costs. So that is our sales. Then we've got our cost, and our cost has a lower gradient. It's got 1,000 plus 12p. And now don't forget, when we sold 100, we were at 2,200. So I reckon that'll be around here. And don't forget, you've got about $1,000 set up. So if you make no products, remember you start at 1,000. So that starts here, and at 100, that's going to end about there. Okay, so you've got this cost. Okay, so what happens here is this is my cost line. So my cost line is $1,000 for the setup, plus it was $12 per piece that they're charging us. Now, when your cost is higher than your sales, then you're making a loss. Because if you think about it, if I make nothing, well, I've just spent $1,000 on nothing. If I make 2, well, it's going to cost me $1,024, and I sell, it's only going to make me $50. So the difference between these shows my loss or profit. But because my cost is higher than how much I'm bringing in, obviously I'm going to make a loss. So I'm still making a loss all the way here because I'm spending more, because this calculates how much my costs total compared to how much my sales are. And until I get to this point here is my break-even point. So that is the point where my costs cost the same amount as the money I bring in. And that's what we're trying to talk about with the break-even point. And that's really the fundamentals of it all, because the rest of it's just pulling in on your prior knowledge. So this is the break-even point. And this is where my sales equals my costs. Here, if we look at this, costs higher than sales. Therefore, we make a loss. And over here, as we get past the break-even point, now, if you look at like, if I make like, I don't know, 1,000 and 120, right? Even when we made 100, all right, when we looked at that, that's what we looked at. You can see here, my cost me 2,200, right? And we knew my sales was 2,500. So the difference between those was $300. And that's our profit. So we knew the distance was. But as you can see here, right, sales are higher than the costs. Therefore, profit. Because we're bringing in more money than what we're spending. So why are we looking for this break-even point? It's really important in marketing and things like that. Like some people go, okay, we're going to launch a product. And we might go, well, I'm going to get 10,000 of those. How many of these could actually give away for free to still break even? So you might sell them for $25, but in part of your marketing, you might say, hey, let's give away like, we might be able to give away 4,000, 3,000 of these items for free. And that's a lot, but we still come out at the same amount. Okay. Now this isn't quite what you can look at, but this is probably what you do more in the real world. And then you can kind of go, well, if we can give away 3,000 and people can like influence and more people are going to talk about it and then buy the product, then, on our next order, we can make money. And that might be a marketing strategy. Here, we're not looking at that. Here, we're just looking at literally like, it's a bit easier just looking at how much we need to sell to compared to our costs, and we have different cost setups. So our break-even point, we just literally jump on our CAS and solve that, and that's where it comes into previous knowledge of using solving simultaneous equations, because that break-even point is solving simultaneous equations. So as I said, we'll do it on the graph first, and then we'll do it in main. I just want to do it on the graph because then we can actually visualize it. So we're going to grow graphs and tables, and we'll put in our sale price first because I'm always like that. So we're going to make it 25x, okay? That's our sales. So we can say graph 1 is our sales. And then graph 2, we know it's $1,000 plus $12 per piece. I'm going to make that x in the calculator. Now, once I've done that, I can draw that. Now, I was thinking about this. I already know that my window should go to 2,500 and 100. So I'm going to change that because I know that's roughly where it is. Means fine. So let's go to 120 for my x. Minus, we'll go to like 2,500. Let's go 2,600. Okay, hit OK to that. All right, so there you can see our two lines, right, which is pretty much what I've drawn there. So there's our cost, there's the break-even point, and there's our like 2,500 mark. So to find this point, we're going to go analyze GSolve, and we're going to find our point of intersection there is what I want to find. My point of intersection is at, as we can see, what is it, 76.93. So our break-even point is basically 76.93 ... and the value of that's going to be 1,923 basically. ... So my break even is I need to order at least 76.93 pieces. Now, some questions will say, what is the amount that you need to purchase to at least, what's the minimum order quantity I need to purchase to at least break even? If I bought 76 pieces, I'm going to be here, and my cost is going to be higher than my sales. If I buy 77, that's the minimum I can buy to at least break even. So 77 pieces would be your break even price. And let's look at what that is. If we go into our main, if I buy 77 pieces, it's going to cost me $1,000 for the setup, and it costs me $12 by 77. So my cost is $1,924. If I sell 77 pieces for $25 each, $1,925. So I've made $1. Yay! So your break even on this is 77. So obviously, if you're ordering 10,000, you're going to do really well. And that's what the break-even point is. So the break-even point is about where do I break even with my costs versus how much money I'll be bringing in. And you'll find that that point there is where it is. Anything above that, you start making a profit. Anything below that, you typically start making a loss. And that's what we want to find. Now, you could easily do this a lot easier on the keyboard. Just put your simultaneous equations in here, and you're just going to go like 25x, and then we're going to have, what do we got, 1,000. Oh, I should do y equals, sorry. And I'm not doing that right. Let me just delete that and start again. Use this one to put it in. We're going to do y equals 25x and go down. Y, and now I'm using y, even though I know it's like CMP, because I've got to use the same letters to find the point of the intersection. So y equals 1,000 plus 12x, because it's on the same axis, so that's y, and press across, and I want to solve for x and y. And you'll find that it comes out with those numbers there, okay? So you've still got to sometimes round up. Usually it will give you like a nice whole number. Sometimes it won't, and you've got to read the question carefully for like if it's at least or not. I would answer it that way, looking at a break-even point. If you want to know how much money, if you made a profit or a loss, what you need to do, if you're trying to figure out, is you need to think about the profit. The profit is how much money you can bring in revenue or income or sales. So you're going to use that sales equation first. $25 times whatever, you know, how many you sell. And then you got to take away your costs. So then you take away your cost formula, okay, minus your costs or minus your expenses, whatever it is. And then you can figure out what your profit is. Again, the break-even point is where your costs are equal to your sale. It's where you make no profit or loss. So therefore, you're trying to find when the cost equals sale. And that's why we let these equations equal each other. So you could do it simultaneossly, where you're really saying, you know, you've got costs equals 1,000 plus 12p, and we've got our sales equals 25p. If I let these equal each other, well, costs equal sales. My costs is 1,000 plus 12p equals 25p, and then I can minus 12p on both sides. 1,000 equals, so I'm substituting equation 1 into equation 2, okay? Okay, and then it's going to be minus 12p on both sides. It's going to be 13p, I think it is. Is that right? Yep. And then I can actually divide 1,000 divided by 13 is how many packets I've got, and you'll find that will be the 76. 1,000 divided by 13 is that 76.923. So that's it as an exact number. So you'll find that P equals 76.93. Now, Now, if it asks for 2 decimal places, you'd leave it at that. If the question asked to at least break even, might help if I had an iron there. So minimum order amount to at least break even is, and put it in words, is 77 packs, or you could say sets, whatever you wanted. So that's it, guys. That's pretty much the whole subchapter there of break even. And the main thing is really understanding the concept of what is break even, what is revenue, what is sales, all these different terms. So really understanding that minus the costs, understanding that the difference between them is when your costs are higher than your sales, you make a loss. When your sales are higher than your costs, you're making a profit. And that's the main concepts that we really want you to understand. So when you're looking at those and why do we have these different costs and revenue, that is why. So I hope that helps. I felt like that was fun. I love business. I absolutely love it. But yeah, I'm just going to stop recording there.